Thank you for joining us today at our Embrace a Child event. Our theme today is not the same old story, and that's because we want to highlight the difference that CASA makes in the lives of the children that we serve. Some of their stories are very difficult, they're hard to hear, and they're troubling. But because of CASA, we make an effort to ensure that their story changes, that their story has a better ending. And that's what we're dedicated here today to try to do and get more volunteers to ensure that every child has a happy story. Child abuse numbers, unfortunately, are on the rise, and Kentucky has, unfortunately, the recognition of being the worst state in the country for child abuse. We have 32,000 children every year who are abused and neglected. That's about 13,000 more people that can fit in Freedom Hall. It's a huge number, but we're committed to tackling as much as we can in our area so that we can ensure that every child has a story that goes where we think it should. We're really dedicated to ensuring that we decrease those numbers. And unfortunately, that's been made more difficult by COVID and by the lack of reporting that's occurring because children haven't been going to school and they haven't been seeing those valuable professionals who make the reports about child abuse. And so we want to make sure that we truly make a difference and that we really ensure that we can continue to do our good work and to help our CASAs to help children. CASA volunteers save the lives of children. They are trained through a training program and do 30 hours of training. They get comprehensive background checks. They do court observation. And from there, they're paired with a child. They make sure that the child is going to the doctor. They make sure that the child is getting dental support. They make sure the child is going to school. And then they write a report for the judge to ensure that each child has the best possible picture of what's going on in their lives. And then the judge makes an informed decision about how that child's life can be improved. This is all due to CASA volunteers. CASA volunteers that even during the pandemic continued to ensure their children were safe, were healthy, and were happy by visiting them at a distance, by visiting them virtually, by dropping off essential items that they need, and making sure that they knew that they were loved. Unfortunately, we've got a large number of children to help in this way. We're very proud that last year we served 514 children with 215 volunteers. But our goal is to serve every child in our area who needs a CASA volunteer. And we estimate this to be about 3,800 children, or 1 in 12 in our Commonwealth. And so we want every child to have a story that ends well. The stories that you'll hear today are stories that are real. They're stories of children who need our help. And we try to make an impact by ensuring that the children that we serve are not just statistics, but they are real stories, and they're children who need our special attention. Imagine if you were driving here today and you saw a 1-year-old child on the side of the street, a child that was crying, a child that was hurt, or a child that really needed attention. You wouldn't stop. You wouldn't not stop. You would make sure that that child got the immediate care that they needed. You would stop your car, you would get out, and you would grab the child. You would nurture them and hold them and ensure that they got the immediate attention that we think every child deserves. Our goal is to take that immediate response and provide it to children who are behind closed doors, who we don't see on the side of the street, children that we don't experience in our daily life, or who may have a silence that we don't know what's going on in their life. That's what we do. We do it well with the CASA volunteers who are dedicated to the services that we think every child deserves. And we make sure that each child gets attention and care because of their CASA volunteer. CASA has many benefits. Children with a CASA volunteer spend less time in care. They spend, on an average, 8 months less in care. So we make a huge difference by ensuring that children get placed in happy placements, that children are ideally reunited with their families whenever possible, and that they get the attention that we think that every child deserves. And that's why we're here today, to ask you to support our mission, to ask you to help us to fund more CASAs, to help us to recruit more CASAs so that we can ensure that every child gets this level of care. CASA volunteers, many of whom are at this virtual event, make a big difference, and we're so truly grateful to them. And we hope that you will spread our message of ensuring that every child deserves a safe, loving, and caring adult by helping recruit others and by donating to our mission so that we can ensure every child has a place and a story that ends well.